Hello and welcome to another edition of RSF Radio. This is the show where we talk about what's been going on the front page of our Street Fighter, what's been going on in the FGC at large. A very special guest to really break down what's been going on this entire past season of the CPT, and more than that, you had him on last year. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Glenn, aka thegametwok, how you doing?
Good. I should probably, I guess in terms of the how the handle is pronounced, you probably would have lost my vote of confidence. I just wanted to mention
you know, of course, that's how we have to start. I'm always not gonna not give you not really shit, but it's just like everybody misses it. Everybody has their own thing.
Everybody misses. Yeah. If you didn't know me after 2000, before 2001, you are. Yeah, you're probably gonna not only miss you're gonna miss the wide right, like a kicker. Yeah.
Yeah. If you missed out on the Millennium, you won't understand this reference.
Yeah.
If you didn't live through that particular time in life, then I got news for you. Sorry. That's the Game 2K on Twitter or on the website, the Game 2K, which is where you can go to find all the stats. Because if you don't know, Glenn's been keeping track of it's gotten pretty minute, the details of which you've kept track of this year. Maybe let's break down what were some of the new stats you've been following that you didn't last year.
Well, a few of the new stuff I've been trying to track this year. I think one of the most important ones is whether it's really good to go back to character select, whether it's good to take a break after a loss. So let's say you got a 3 out of 5, you lose game 1, and you're thinking, okay, let me just mash reset, let's go back into it and let me play again. Or is it more important to just breathe, go back to character select, even though you're not going to change the character, and just give yourself that extra 30, 45 seconds to think things over before you get into that next game. So that's kind of one of the things I was curious about this year. And it's been pretty surprising in terms of the results.
Could I posit a guess?
I would, go ahead. Yeah.
Because anecdotally, I would think that going back to the character select screen would benefit you, and it would turn in your favor slightly, maybe not all the way, but it would be one of those things where I'd have to look at the rounds and how close they were, like if it was a close set, or like if they went 2-0 the first round, back to character select, maybe nothing would change. Who knows? That is anecdotally what I think it would be, but I don't know. I don't have the stats. You do.
When I had talked about this at Evo as well, and at the time I thought that there wasn't enough information to really make a judgment call about it.
Right.
And even now, maybe we still need one more year of data to really understand whether it's worth it or not. Because you either really do it or you really don't. And I apologize, I'm going to pull up the information right now, because I've been doing a thread of all the stats of the year. So the one player who has done it it almost guaranteed he's going to go back to character select after a loss is Knuckle Dew. And he did it 26 times in top 8 matches.
Wow. That's
a
pretty high number.
Yeah, nobody was even at 20. Nobody else the whole year did it 20 times. And he went 12-14 in the next game after going back to character select after a loss. So really, I think it really depends on who, and I hate to say depends. I know I'm going to block myself on Twitter. You really have to look at the situation as to who's doing it and what it is. Like you mentioned, some people just out of habit, they just do it like Knuckle do,
Right.
and then some people really think about it and they say, okay, I'm just going to keep going, or I'll just I'll go back. Like Mago here, Mago did it 15 times and was 10-5. So he did it the second most out of everybody who's qualified for Capcom Cup. He went 10-5.
That's a good swing.
Yeah, but most everybody else that I'm looking at here, who's done it at least 5 times, have losing records.
Hmm.
And then if you look at everybody who didn't qualify for Capcom Cup, it's just, I wouldn't say it's abysmal, but it's very. It wouldn't make you think that there's a advantage or a disadvantage.
Right.
So that's kind of my takeaway after a year of analyzing this. I just think that it really is about who you are, what the situation is. And we just really need one more year. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to write about this in the book, but I really believe that we probably need one more year before we say, hey, this either matters or doesn't matter. It's not like the going the first 2 games where it's really obvious. Yeah. This one is not as obvious. So
I feel like there's some intangibles there that might have to be accounted for.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know what those are or what you would have to look at, but I see where you could be headed with that. But you did bring up something that I think is worth touching upon, and maybe looking back at the year 2018. If you can reel it all the way back to that, you've released an ebook. I read it. I thought that it was essential for anyone who wants to speak intelligently on commentary for specifically the CPT in general. Like, if there is a commentator out there who commentated for the CPT and didn't read the book, they done fucked up, because it's like it's just something that it puts everything into maybe not everything, but it put a lot of things into perspective of here's the data that we have. It is available to us, and packaged in a way that can be that's explained, of like, here's why, here's how, here's where these numbers come from, here's what it means. But you want to speak to that 2018 experience?
Well, I think in 2018, what it really was, that was kind of the turning point, is where 2017, everybody was talking about, okay, here's a guy talking about stats. Really, nobody cares. Because really, fighting games is the only genre of esports where stats don't matter. Then
the numbers don't matter.
Yeah,
it's the who's line it anyway of esports.
Yeah, exactly. And then what really, I think, got everybody's attention was the Final Four order.
Yes, and I'm glad that almost all tournaments.
Yeah. This year, only 5. We went from 23 events in 2000. I think it was 23 or 22 events in 2017 to 10 in 2018, and this year it was 5. Because it really
explain what you mean by the order.
Well, in a double elimination tournament, there are 2 general. I mean, there's several ways you can do it, but there's really 2 general ways you can run the order of the final 4 matches in a tournament. The ideal way to do it is to run the
losers
run the
semifinals first, right?
See, I wish I wrote this down so I wouldn't make this mistake myself. It's to run winners finals first, and then losers semifinals, and then losers finals, and then the grand finals match. But what happens based on whoever's running the event, or it could be even the commentators or whatever, it could be somebody in the crowd, or it could be just the players themselves. After that losers quarterfinal match is run, that player will stay, the winner will stay on and just play again. Because how many of us have been, well, I'm old, you're probably well-aged yourself, have gone to an arcade and you win and you just stay on. So it's like, okay, I win. Give me the next person. So we're just kind of used to that. But we've had to in that, okay, you played a match, now go take a break and let people play their match. And then you can go back on. So that's been really really made an emphasis about this. I really made an emphasis about it last year because I was just upset. And also it was because of how the rule sets for the 2018 season, where really every point mattered. I mean, like if you weren't part of the top, I mean, say top 4 of the results or top 3, really, you really didn't.
Yeah, the difference between first place and 8th place was dramatic, especially in ranking. It almost didn't matter if you got 8th place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the position of when the matches were played really, really mattered. And we had to hammer it to everybody that, the way you run the event has an impact on who is getting into Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
So please don't, we're asking you, please, it's just a small favor. All you have to do is just remember to make sure that nobody plays consecutive matches until grand finals. That's it. Or until losers finals.
Right.
That's it. That's all we're asking. And it is even the thing of like, you would never ask somebody in pool play to play after a loss. And if you were that person, you would not play after a loss. You'd get up and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm pissed. I'm gonna walk around. I'm just gonna like think it over." You go outside,
take a minute.
Yeah, and then you come back and then you play your next match because you have time. We don't ask people to do this during pool play. If you do, you really need to think. You really need to.
That's a bad bracket runner right there.
Look yourself in the mirror. Yeah.
That's not a good.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
because you're doing losers semifinals first, then winners finals, and then back to losers finals had a dramatic impact on the outcome of that losers finals match. I think it was somewhere upwards of 80% of the time. Or was it higher than that?
Well, it was last year. There were 10 times it happened. The winner's final loser only went 3 and 7 in losers finals. Where it really picked up, and I'm trying to remember, but I believe this was the case. I believe it was Summer Jam. It was Knuckle Dew at Summer Jam, and he was the victim of the wrong Final Four order. And he played, was it Terrence? I think it was Terrence. And he lost winners finals. Had to play losers finals.
This is back in 2018.
Correct. Yeah, he only got a couple minutes of break, which we can talk about that.
That's
later
a whole
on.
Other issue of like the cadence of how a tournament is run that went into this whole thing, and this is all outlined very detailed in your book of like exactly how this ran down and the implications of doing this way.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, and so he lost that match, and at that time, the winners final losers were 0-7. So 7 times that had happened during the year, up to late summer, and they all went 0-7. And I was at that point, I was just furious because I had pretty much assumed, and this is and I don't mean to speak ill of whoever the opponent was that Knuckle Dew faced, but I had thought, okay, it was Knuckle Dew, and it was Knuckle Dew and Punk in that match. I remember in the winner's final match. So I was thinking, okay, the streak is over. Somebody's winning losers final. I mean, one of these two is winning losers finals no matter what. I was like, okay, this is it. It's over. We don't have to worry about this going forward. We're going to have a win. And it didn't happen. And that's when I was just like, I can't take this. Everybody has to pay attention to this, because this is just, it is insane that we are letting this happen. This affects Knuckle Dew made it, obviously. I think he did, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, no, he had to he removed himself from the 2018
Oh, he did.
Capcom
Cup. Okay.
If you remember that, he was guaranteed the position. Oh wait, no.
Oh, I thought that was 2017.
Yeah, I'm remembering wrong. Yep. No, that was a year before.
Okay, so he did make it,
yeah.
But even then, he could have had a higher positioning.
Right.
So it was just there was just so much at play. It threw just such a. It feels like a minor decision because we're thinking like, oh, okay, all right, you two play. That's it, and then that's all you say is okay, you guys play, and then they go play, but. The implications of just that decision has a wide-ranging effect of not only that match, but the next match, and then the year going forward. Because maybe, let's say, that Final Four order was played correctly, and Knuckle Dew wins, he gets to Grand Finals, plays Punk again, and then whatever happens. Maybe he doesn't go to another event because he has more points secured. And maybe it means that other players are having to go to more events or like secure when they probably said, okay, I'm not going to go. It just changed the whole thing just because of that one decision. I know it's like it's almost Cassandra-ish in terms of like the warning signals, but really it's like that was one of the things I really wanted to highlight last year in terms of the stats.
And luckily, the majority of the tournaments that were run this year took heed of that word and made the switch. Wasn't the case in all of the tournaments, but for whatever reason, and some of them, I think the ones that it weren't were like online tournaments as well.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of online events. That we only had 5 this year was great. I mean, it wasn't a perfect score, but it was great that we only had 5. What really surprised me this year was that of the 5, I think this is of the 5 events that did the incorrect Final Four order, 3 of them ran a commercial in between winners finals and losers finals. So that means the player got at least 10 minutes of a break before playing the next match. So I had brought that up. I think Mr. Crimson was one of them who was affected by the wrong Final Four order, but he got 10 minutes of a break. So I brought it up to people and I said, okay, would you take that trade-off? Because I had always said, okay, these people are running the incorrect Final Four order and they're not giving these people a break. Only one player had been given 5-minute break in between these matches, and that was Punk at one of the Dream Hacks in 2017, and he won that match. Nobody was giving them a break. I mean, I still am furious about the one time, I think it was Problem X, Luffy got like 30 seconds between a winner's final and loser's final match or something like that, and he lost. And wow. I'm thinking like, what is happening here? Why are we?
How is this allowed? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I were a player, I would have done that. I mean, I would have, if I was in winner's quarterfinal, and I won, and I knew that I would immediately have to play the loser, I would have done the same thing. I mean, I really would have just like have my stick in hand, and the moment the match ends, I would have like pushed the winner out of the seat, just check my buttons and let's go. Let's go.
Take advantage of every possible angle.
Yeah. Because I really would have done that. I don't think anybody has that much of is not conscious enough to pull that off.
Yeah, probably.
Or they probably would have. Yeah.
In that situation, which is rare.
Yeah. The one person who understood that, I think last year was Jiwa. He was a victim of the wrong Final Four order. He had to play losers finals, and it was a European tournament. I forgot which one, and the player was like, "Okay, I'm ready, and it'd only been like 2 minutes, and Jiwa says, "No, we're waiting. You wait." And I saw that. I was like, I wanted to applaud him so much for that. I was just so happy. He was maybe everybody else kind of like understood or take. I mean, nobody really has gotten up out of their chair. Most of them are just like they're sulking or they're pissed.
And like I get that too, right? Because it's like taking a commercial break would, at least as a player, help you recover mentally.
Yeah.
But like as a tournament like viewer or a tournament runner,
you're pissed
like,
because
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like there's 2 matches for the end. Why are you taking a break?
Yeah, it super doesn't make sense. Like that's you're gaining momentum as a broadcast. You don't cut to commercial. But I get it. Like it does make sense. But and for the ones that play on online tournaments, as someone who runs a lot of online tournaments, like I still do the correct order, but like that's more of a me saying that on other online tournaments are run shittily by people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. But that's kind of another conversation to have.
Well, and the thing about online tournaments is that, in a way, and I don't want to call it as a pass. I don't want to say it's I mean, the people who do it incorrectly get a pass, but we already have one player readied up. So in a way, it is easier to just say, okay, you lost, you're ready here, play the next match. In a way, I don't want to say it's acceptable, but when I see it happen in online tournaments, I'm like, they just have the player ready to have the next match. And I'm like, I know I don't want to say that you get a pass for that, but it is understandable.
Here's where I call bullshit on that. I understand you trying to give people these passes and like be a little bit generous, because online tournaments, you have to deal with the online and having communication that way. I understand. Here's where I call bullshit on that, is that we run a tournament every week while I'm running the stream. I'm checking the chat. We're running the lobbies.
Brackets, I'm guessing.
We're working the brackets. Like I'm doing all of that stuff and commentating and carrying on like a conversation during all of this. And still we invite the people. They're on time. Like they all know where to be. It all happens fairly. There is very minimal downtime in between winners, losers, semis, losers, and grand finals. Like that, it is snappy at that point. There is no excuse. If you want to run a better online tournament, get people who know what the fuck they're doing, put resources into it. That's the other thing, is that if you're going to run an online ranking event, put the same exact resources that you would for a ranking event into that online ranking event. See what the difference is, because it will be significant. All right, sorry, that's my rant. let me just lower my blood pressure a little bit.
I think there are thoroughbreds. It's just it's and most of them still get it right. Like there were only 5 this year that were incorrect. That's right. And it's a jump from a jump from 2 years ago. Right. Just or even last year, if you go from 22 to 10 to 5, it's really good. I mean, that was 2018. That was only one of many of the topics that are brought up in the book. But this is 2019. We've got a CPT ahead of us. We have what right now I'm going to call like the supercomputer thinking machine. What done predicted last year's winner. Yeah, that was surprising.
Did it predict the winner this year is the big question.
Well, the computer. Okay, so first off, the computer says the winner is going to be Fujimura.
Put your money on Fujimura, people.
Yeah, and he finished third. I looked. I was like, oh, he finished third last year. I don't even remember that. Like, I know the finals was Izazan versus Gachikun, but I totally forgot that Fujimura was third last year. Mm-hmm. That was just
that. By the way, that Fujimura match for third place was like one of the fucking tightest sets of the year. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Lest we forget, that match was like, oh man, that whole like actual top 4, that whole situation was super good. Like Bonchan's run during the Capcom. Man, I'm getting excited for Capcom Cup.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Think it's gonna be a really good Capcom Cup.
Oh shit! I'm thinking about how last year was super good. Dang.
Yeah. The computer says Fujimura's going to win, but I think what the computer is really telling, it was really trying to say, is I don't expect a lot of upsets this year. That's what I think it's trying to say. Because if we look at, I mean, if I look going back to even just like top 16, it's all chalk, except for like one player. It's all chalk. And then
there were no close sets.
Yeah, it really, there were only 2 matches I think that were deemed too close to call. When in the past it would be like 10 or 15, 10 to 12 to 15. Right. This year was only 2. So it's just telling that the computer's saying, if you, and this is something that I've been trying to tell people the whole last couple months. People want chaos. Just there's nothing in terms of like the numbers that are saying that chaos is coming, or maybe it is with
chaos. You tell me there ain't gonna be no chaos?
Yeah, maybe there will be with a month of prep time, but
beans.
There is nothing that really signals that something crazy is going to happen. I mean, the only thing that really came out of it that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really scared. I'm really scared is that the last chance qualifier would be considered strong enough to win 2 matches, to at least go 2-2.
Then shit gets wild.
Yeah, okay. But then that's
why
the
exactly would that be the case?
Well, what I did this year in terms of the projection was actually make the last chance qualifier somebody. So I gave it a strength of schedule of 500, which is relatively weak. It's really weak. Then I gave it the average of the 31 players. So I said, okay, if it's going to be like one of the 31 players, we'll just make it one of the 31 players. We'll just give the average. And it's just really, I mean, it was just so surprising that, okay, Mago is going to be the first one it faces. And it's saying Mago is projected to lose that match, which means that there's the pool of talent out there that has that's going to try to win the last chance qualifier is pretty much strong enough to be a regular competitor in the top 32. It's not going to be like somebody who fights and just begs to get a win in round 1. They could be a legitimate player to do some early damage.
Yeah, so I mean, our Street Fighter sponsoring Ceroblast, who got that OCV on Team Japan. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to make it through the LCQ, but I'm saying maybe he can draw some blood from that bracket.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that the pool outside it's just not going to be like, they're not going to go down easy.
Right.
Like we saw that I wouldn't say we saw that last year, but there's nobody last year who was saying like, oh my gosh, the last chance qualifier is going to do some major damage and get in the top 8, and it's also one of the reasons why I've been kind of championing the cause to return the 30-second seat to the regular season, because I just believe in the group format. I know the voices have been stronger this year in terms of group format, but
the LCQ is so much fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
But a group format with pool play and having it in the same sense of, like how we see with the CS:GO majors and other events, maybe even like, I wouldn't say like the Magic Pro Tour, but because they do Swiss, but just having group format just would make everything like so hyper focused on each group, on the 4 players who are in group. If they do 4 players, it would just, I think at the sacrifice of having 15 more, I think it was 15 more matches, it's worth it. And then that's a whole nother topic. I know you were asking about this year's.
Yeah, that's the real hot take there of me being like, who do you think's going to win Capcom Cup? You know, we should do a round robin tournament, Swiss brackets, and we should do we should just break this shit up, make it fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is that if the dream of mine would be return the 32nd seed to the regular season. Capcom Cup is group play, 32 players. To 16 get out, single elimination. That's
single elim, huh?
Yeah. I mentioned it this morning that, you know, double elimination tournaments. It's kind of my belief. And it's also me watching a lot of these other esports games.
So
team based, individual based, where they're just you just know the start to finish, and maybe
there is something to fucking up a bracket that you know who's gonna be in it, when you know that there's gonna be a seeding, when you know who's gonna be there, like this extremely high invitation. Just say, you know what, the open double elimination bracket works for open tournaments. That's just how it's functioned. That allows players to show off their talent or take out strong or play. It allows the community to be a community.
Yeah, we get hyped for the one upset that always happens among the 200, 300 matches that happen on the weekend.
Sharks are out there.
Yeah,
but in a tournament,
they may
like
not have
this,
a bite, but they're out there.
When there's a tournament like this,
yeah.
Or maybe let's say there's more tournaments
in
a year that are like big invitationals that are of this caliber or similar caliber that just kind of fuck with the format a little bit and to show off. It allows to show off different types of talent, different types of because you get to see like what kind of matches you would see. The stakes would be different. It would just be a lot. It'd be different. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no way it's going to happen.
No,
there's no way single elimination is going to happen. Maybe group format, but not single elimination. You know, it's just it passed that point of no return. And
unless like SBO is like makes a resurgence.
Yeah, and then that's really the event that kind of killed the hope for doing. It's a dream, but I'm also understanding of the fact of where everything is now, and
but you live on planet Earth and you get it.
Yeah. So again, just going back to this year, there's nothing that really signals major chaos other than perhaps the last chance qualifier, whoever that ends up being, doing something in the early rounds. But even then, that person will probably get eliminated soon after. Then it becomes the Punks, the Problem X's of the world, the Bond Chans, the brothers, the Bird brothers, so that's really what
the Birdmen.
Yeah, the Birdmen. Yeah, that's really what to expect. That's what I think. Everybody's going to look at, if Fujimaru wins, yay, we got it right. But really, we need to look at what happened in the rounds leading up to that. Was there somebody in the, you can even say like the 17 to 32, did they do something, or were they all eliminated? So that's what really we need to look for. And this year the computer's saying don't expect it, and it's kind of a bummer, but yeah, I mean, it's just,
if that's what the computer predicts, that's what the computer predicts. It's not. Yeah. Might not be the case. Someone could be having a bad day. Any number of things could happen. But the stats are telling us it's all chalk.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what.
I would like to see.
We'll see what happens. We have everybody has a month. That's could be the equalizer in all of this.
Yeah, I suppose. Man, is it that far away? I'm like thinking now in my head, I'm like, damn, are we really that far out?
Yeah, it's really been a month. next 9 days to go, I think, before
It's
crazy.
I mean, like, because that's the other thing is like I'm thinking about the episodes that we did before this week, and it's like, yeah, there really hasn't been a whole lot of news. There's kind of been a whole bunch of fucking nothing in between this and the last super premiere, which apparently was like run like a horror show. But that's another conversation for another time.
Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, okay.
Well, I think most players and most people who have been at that venue agree that it's not the best for a fighting game tournament, just in general.
Yeah.
But that's another story. And apparently there was some also like issues. That tournament had some issues. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
In terms of like there,
I did not know that. Yeah, I did not know
like things. Like even with like it was run on PlayStation Slims. Things were downloading in the background. There was like power issues and like noticeable lag on monitors that shouldn't.
Okay,
have
the lag I heard about,
yeah.
But I presume that if that's the case, I think the idea is you just have like 2 or 3 other PlayStations ready. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you would just like you would have a couple of PlayStations ready, or you just like have a backup station just in case if something happens. It's I don't know. I'm thinking of like, what ifs. And if that's totally impossible, then I apologize. But that's
you're thinking of it as in terms of someone who knows what it takes to run a fighting game tournament, whereas these are people who are used to running like all kinds of tournaments. So for them, like a Rocket League tournament or whatever, it might not even matter if you have shit downloading. Like I forget what match it was, but the notification popped in the corner where it was like,
please disconnect your controller.
No, it was Apex Legends update has finished downloading. It like popped up in the corner, and you think to yourself, who the fuck allowed this to happen on the machine that we are streaming from?
Yeah,
like to have it like it's hooked up to the internet. What the like? You didn't just shut that shit down? Like
that's
to run this? Like, come on! Like, stop it! And a whole other slew of issues. Which Sajam actually talked about a lot on his episode, his podcast, which is not as I think it's like bi-weekly or like monthly. It's really just whenever he has the time to get everyone together to record it. It's a good show. People should listen to it.
Yeah,
find it on his YouTube channel.
Bits and pieces about yeah.
He goes into detail of what like went wrong there, but that was the North American regional finals, the NARF, as it were.
Yeah.
But
you said it. I didn't. I can't understand saying that.
Fine.
So.
Yeah. Listen, I'm like 2 drinks in, man. It's just slurring out the mouth. 1 drink, by the way, had at I got a haircut. I got trim, and here I always love to bring this up is that when I go get a haircut, I get a glass of whiskey with my haircut. And that's very nice. I like that very much. It's a little glass of whiskey, a little hot lather shave, get trim, get the head rub hair wash thing, which is so pleasant. All that for like $26. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
awesome.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a territory I don't jump in because I'm bald and I don't drink alcohol. So
that's fine. That's totally fine and valid. I'm not here to say that you can't. It's just there are some. I would say that there's like some bars in New York.
If you get the experience that if you get the experience that you're looking for, then it's.
Oh, yeah, just that hot lather, man. They put the hot towel on. She uses a straight razor. It's like she hits it with the strop and then cha. It cuts me up. It's real good shit. She's the best. Also, like I have ladylike hair, and ladies, if you're listening, be jealous because I get my hair cut for $26 and I get a drink. Whereas what I know about ladies' haircuts for lady hair, it can like be upwards of like hundreds of dollars.
Oh my goodness!
Or like $80 for a cut. And I'm like, layer my hair, please, Allie. And she's like, okay. and that's where our conversation ends. And and then at the end of
let them do the work. Yeah,
the 20 some minutes it takes. Oh man, it's so pleasant. I love it. All right, but that's a haircut experience. I've had some hair troubles in the last couple of days. People who listened to the last episode will know that my beard trimmer blew up in mid beard trim. I had to do an emergency shave there. But anyway, so is there anything else in this year's Capcom Cup that might be? Is there anything on the board that you're thinking might be interesting to watch? Is there anything that you're like looking forward to?
There really, when I did the bracket, there really wasn't anything that made me say, "Wow, I'm surprised." Other than the bracket went chalk, and the last chance qualifier did his or her thing. There's really nothing that makes me say, "Okay, this is it." It could be that we just have to see what happens next week. And that's that's the excitement about it, is that it's going to be a month, and who knows what anybody has ever prepared. We may see a Honda. that's how wild.
Do you think it'll get that wild? How do you feel about Honda, by the way?
It's okay, but there's
really no one out there proving Honda right now.
Yeah,
there's not a whole lot of Honda tech being like out there.
Yeah,
at least not a lot. I mean, there kind of was week one, but there like always fucking is. But yeah, you're right. I kind of haven't seen that many people out there. I mean, like the cool kid was working on Honda, but like he bowed out for the rest of the season. So maybe we'll see him next season playing a Honda.
Yeah. And I was looking at his stats the other day, and there were some trends, and I still have to message him about it, but I was like, oh, there's some trends that the numbers really do say something about a player. It's not just this, not a blanket thing. It's like, okay, we can compare you to everybody else during the season and say, okay, if you were X, then you need to get to Y, and then let's see if that happens. So yeah, that was surprising when you brought it. You mentioned his name, and I was like, oh yeah, I was looking at his stats the other day. Like I was looking at, I'll say one of the Capcom Cup qualifiers the other day. I was looking at his numbers, like, oh well, the bracket says he's not going to do well, but if I look at this, there's something that says, okay, maybe there's a chance. If he just gets through this match,
right.
There's something, I
feel like you're being like a little bit cagey on this, but this is all like I feel like you're just like in the Matrix right now. Like you're like eating a steak at a table and it tastes good. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm looking forward to the next year's book when it is released, in terms of because last year's was just so informative and just an enjoyable read.
Thank you.
And it just kind of informed my position on a lot of things and solidified my position on a lot of things that I had been like thinking of in my head. Like, is Cammy a strong character? Who can say? I think the numbers will show.
And it's still a tough decision about Cammy. It's like, okay, everybody used Cammy, but Cammy was just, the numbers were just
numbers
not
don't lie.
Good.
They just don't lie.
Everybody said so it's like, it's just so tough. What do you believe?
Yeah.
Because there's so many things about it. Yeah.
Also, something to think about is that next year, Championship Edition, all new V skills, which are going to impact the game a lot more than V triggers will, because this is something that could be employed at any point in any match. So who can say? We don't even know what all the V skills are going to be. It's just, I feel like things are going to shake up in 2020 in a way that, I mean, not like so much that like top players are going to be bottom play. Like that's not
Yeah,
that ain't it.
It's not going to be that. Yeah,
but like the meta will certainly change, and how people talk about the game will change, and I'm looking forward to that at least.
Yeah.
But no, 2019 certainly has been a season, and I am looking forward to Capcom Cup because, shit, I mean, last year was a hell of a Capcom Cup. There were so many good matches. Just thinking back, like Bonchan's run, holy shit. Like,
that was incredible.
Yeah, it was like the fucking Mad Notes. It was crazy. Man, what a good tournament that was. But then also, like, there's a part of me that's also like, hey, Capcom Cup, like, what's gonna be fucked up? Is the audio on stream gonna be all fucked up like it was last? Are we gonna have a musical performance? What's your what are your stats on musical performances? When
I don't fault them for trying, because if you watch other events, it's really, and I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but they do the same. I would say it's the same thing, but they do the same thing. There was what was the one major that brought in an orchestra, and it was just it was the cellist who just, it was just unbelievable.
I mean, I could get like rock hard for a cello. I mean, cellos are and that's nature's candy right there. That shit is hot.
Yeah, that was just unbelievable. And then you have DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you have a cello or like the human embodiment of like this man's. He looks like he ate a cello.
Yeah,
so it's that. On the other,
I mean, it's what I don't fault anybody for trying, and I think that's why this year they did the decision to do top 16 on day 2 was or day 3 was really great. I mean, it's just to split it pretty much in half, the bracket day 2 and day 3 is just really good. I think it's going to give everybody some rest, some more time to prepare. I think that's fantastic. If there happens to be some music, some juggling act, they bring Red Panda,
some jugglers, get some jugglers.
I mean, I'd be fine with that. I don't fault them for bringing in an extra entertainment, because it really is. It's entertainment. At the end of the day, that's what you listen to all these. And I mean, I've interviewed a bunch of sports personalities, owners over the years. They'll tell you at the end of the day, it's an entertainment product. Yeah, we're trying to win championships, but we're also here to put butts in seats and entertain people. So it's.
And from what I heard from everyone who was at the venue last year, the audio was good at the venue. It just didn't come across on stream.
That was an issue.
Unfortunate. So really all you could hear was like Deltron saying like "wash your ass," and the backing track was just nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So wash your ass, folks.
Yeah, because I remember like half watching it and like half trying to like get all my notes ready for the bracket. I was like, hey, what's happening? But I'm like, okay, he must have said something, and I'll just like continue to write my notes and like making sure like all of the information in the database is set and updated, and so it was kind of like my mind wasn't all the way there in terms of watching or paying attention to the performances, but like it's kind of like you're writing, have like half an ear to the speaker, just in case something comes up, or like somebody says, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy, the greatest thing ever," and then you're like, "What?" And then
that ain't really what it was, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you're kind of waiting for that moment, but I guess for everybody, they're still waiting for that moment. So
just washing your ass over and over again, which we might wrap this conversation back around to that. But for the time being, anything else about 2019 that you want to allude to before we change topic here?
Let me see what I wrote down notes here. This great discussion. Somebody brought this up this morning. I was like, are you really going to bring this up about players who want matches at tournaments from start to finish to be first to 3? This year,
go off, my friend.
Okay, so
I've cleared the runway. You can go.
So this year, like, there was almost zero discussion about it, which was fantastic. Like, it was almost like the Final Four discussion where we got people to understand that, you know, there is a way to do it. There's a correct way to do it.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. This year, there was almost no discussion. Like, nobody was complaining about, like, oh my gosh, why isn't this tournament 3 out of 5, first to 3 from start to finish? Like, there was almost none of that this year. Or if there was, I missed it. So this year, the win rate when getting to, so in the first to 3, the player got to 2 wins first, won almost 87% of the matches. That was incredible. That's the highest it has ever been in the Capcom Pro Tour in the Street Fighter V era. I think it was 868 for the year. So, and that was just like, I was blown away. I was like, we're in for a course correction. I was like, okay, we're going really high. We're going really high. We're bound for a crash at some point. Because, you know, it's like the stock market. You're expecting a downturn at some point. Like, I imagine all these people today who are watching stock market are waiting for that major downturn. Like, I was watching the 2x number keep on going up, and I was like, there's got to be a dip. There's got to be a crash at some point. There's going to be like one event where everybody is going to come back after falling behind 2-0 or 2-1. And it didn't happen. And I was like, what? This is just insane. I think it speaks to how well the game is this year, because it was really great. It was this version of the game produced this result.
It's really tight.
Yeah.
It's a really tight game in terms of balance, and the better player usually comes out on top.
Yeah, and I think we saw that this year. It was just unbelievable. There wasn't no situation like Tokido last year was 11-10 when he fell behind 2-0 or 2-1. He was 11-10, which is, if you think about it, that's freaking mind-blowing that he was able to come back that many. Well, he put himself in that situation that many times, and he was able to come back that many times. It was almost a 50% win rate. It was over a 50% win rate. So, like, we talk about, oh, you know, there's always that kid. You know, that kid who always comes back. You know, it's 2-0, and that there's always that kid who goes to the locals and he always comes back and he wins. That's what I'm fearful for. That kid was Tokido.
Yeah, he just won't stay. He doesn't know when to quit.
Yeah, and that kid was Tokido. I mean, he's not a kid, but yeah, I was like, that's the person. Yeah. So he was a rare breed last year, but he kind of receded this year in terms of that stat. I think it was something. It wasn't. He didn't have a winning record, but you know, it was kind of like where everybody else was on the scale. So this year was just really amazing in terms of when a player got to 2 wins first, they held it in and won the match. So that really, like, when anybody now, if anybody talks about it, because like somebody was saying, like, oh yeah, well, just because all these players got to, you know, won their matches in a first, you know, at a high rate, doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done, you know, in the bracket earlier. I'm like, are you really going to? Are you really going to make that justification? That's a weak justification. That's really weak justification. Other than, that's probably one of the weakest ones. Other than, well, the tournament organizers have time, or the players, it's just the right way to do it. Those are probably the two weakest arguments for expanding the first 3. But yeah, I'm glad there was like almost no talk about that this year, because really the numbers say it's really pointless.
Right?
Is that the word to use?
I mean, sure. I'll buy pointless, because I mean, it doesn't necessarily it has hardly an impact on the outcome of the tournament.
Yeah,
to do such a thing.
Yeah, and even if, and this is also my my answer back, which very people just don't want to think about it, is that do you think all those scrubs in the first rounds of and second rounds of tournaments are going to benefit from having 2 more games, at most 2 more games, if they play Tokido and get waxed, or if they play Punk and get perfect 4 times? Are they going to benefit from having 1 more game where they're probably just going to eat, more 2 more criticals, and then that's it?
Yeah. It's not going to really change the outcomes of any of those matches. I mean, if anything, it's going to prevent that, that one person is going to clutch it out, versus it might actually go the other way in terms of the mental adaptation of someone like a Tokido, who can maybe lose 2 rounds and then come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who can say, though?
Yeah. So we're talking about the win rate going from 87% to maybe 90.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even in that situation, a lot of people, I know a lot of people who have taken a round off of Daigo, 1 round, and then just get washed. The rest of them, win no more rounds. Mm-hmm. They'll win the first one, and then they will stop winning.
Yeah.
And that's how that will go. Mm-hmm. Maybe you win 1 match against Daigo, and then you will stop winning. It won't matter in a lot of those situations. And then you have to think about this makes all these tournaments super long, much longer, and it becomes a logistics issue and a huge problem that way for something that, from what statistics tell us, it's a wash.
Yeah. And really, you got these tournament organizers who are running 6 pro tours events in the same venue in the same weekend. In some cases, it's just, man, it's really nuts.
Yeah, the weight on some of these guys' shoulders is intense, because man, just thinking about what it takes to run even 1 CPT event, and then you think, well, this is also a Tekken Pro Tour event, or this is
NRS,
or this is an
Brawlhalla. You got
Arc System,
Archivo. You got
Archivo, It's kind of bananas to think about how many corporate sponsors have their hand in the pot there to who all the people you have to please to make that shit even work.
And the weird thing, and I'm kind of, I don't want to say worried, but my guess is that the events on the schedule have been declining for the past couple of years, which I thought was fantastic. Yeah. That there were breaks in the season were fantastic.
The human beings what enter these tournaments kind of need that, as it turns out.
They got it. They didn't. There was a 2-week period nobody flew. There were 3 breaks, although I think one of them was not intended to actually happen. There was supposed to be an event, but they got canceled. But then there were 2 actually gaps in the calendar. I was like, this is amazing. We can all take a break. We can all just relax. But my concern is that is going to go away next year. It's just going to it's just going to get washed away. Yeah. And it may not be a ramp up. It may be it may just shoot from X to Y. But that's my guess. I have no I should say I have no knowledge of what's going to happen next year in terms of the schedule. But my guess, just kind of reading the room, is that there were 55 events this year. That may be 55 events may be the end of May. Let me just that'll be my guess.
What the fuck are you even on right now?
Yeah. That's just kind of
what the fuck are you on? No.
That's kind
wild.
of look. I'm just, if you kind of
Explain yourself.
Well, there's going to be ways where people. Jeez, I forgot who was the player who said that he didn't travel and qualify for finals. No, there was nobody. No, there was nobody. It wasn't CPT. It was somebody. It was something else. But we're going to see. I'm sorry.
That I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, I forgot who it was, but I think we're just going to see a lot more events next year, and a lot by like a capital A space capital L capital O capital T events next year.
Okay.
And I like I said, I have no knowledge of what's going to happen next year.
That's fair.
But
fair to say.
Just kind of getting a sense of what's been going on. That's going to be my guess.
There's a part of me that's like, nah, fuck you. But then there's a part of me that's like, but the Olympics, though.
Yeah. It could be that the Olympics just kind of stunts everything because everybody's just going to focus on getting to the Olympics.
But those are all like online events. It's a whole man. And then there's also like Super League. They're running a whole side league that is like not really an amateur league, but that's like gaining steam.
Yeah, and part of my concern too is also that the way I track stats is really I just watch the streams and just jot down the numbers. That's just how it is. There's nothing that's coming from the game itself or like an API. There's just none of that available. I just watch every event, and my fear is that these events, if there's more events, means there's more opportunities to miss matches because tournaments are just going to say, "Oh, fuck it, we'll just do top 4 on stream."
Damn. Okay.
And then it's like we just missed 6 matches.
I don't.
That
think
could have been
happen. Even if it gets bad, I don't think that would happen. I don't think that the people in the community would allow it. Do you really think so?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what? I say that, but then I think about Canada Cup, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it, it's whatever. Like,
I really think
if
there is a shift next year where there's going to be a lot more events, then I think there's going to be more acceptance of, all right, let's get to grand finals,
right?
And that's it. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, I should repeat this for everybody who's going to listen. I have no knowledge of what's going to happen next year. This is just my guess based on just reading and understanding what's been going on around me and tracking events. So that's just my guess. So yeah.
That's just the gut feeling. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is the 2019 year. Looking forward to 2020, and what that craziness might hold. I don't think I mean, fuck it, maybe it will. Because I'm also thinking about like, I guess they got to hire more people next year as well. I mean, like Michael Martin won't be coming back next year. It's like
I mentioned there's going to be a lot of change.
Like, there's no longer like the Andy Wong who was in that position. Like, I know Carolyn's doing a great job. Shar is out. She's been doing a great job, but is no longer at Capcom. I'm thinking like, man, there's like a lot of roles to fill. Do they have to like do that all in between the seasons and figure that shit out? I don't know. Yeah. It's we'll see.
Yeah.
It's man, Championship Edition, man, it's gonna be fucking buck wild.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty. There's gonna be a lot of change. We just hope that it's everything turns out well for everybody.
The next change.
That's all you can hope. Yeah.
The next change that I want to talk about, which I only want to touch on briefly, don't want to dig into it too much, but. Momochi recently in the news, he has accepted a JESU license, which is the Japanese Esports Union, which is a group of people who decide who can be a professional player so that they can accept payouts larger than effectively $1,000 USD. Momochi has in the past turned down large sums of money for winning tournaments, and this is not just within Japan. This is globally. I've had a whole episode on this. Had Doc Fugu explained the ins and outs of it. Had Majin Obama come on and talk about this shit. Momochi's opinions on this have been recorded and documented, and the reasons why he was against accepting a Jessu license. And I've seen a lot of people have the take of, oh man, he fucking gave in. But really, that's not it's not exactly that's a very on its face take, but not necessarily. That take lacks so much nuance as to what the situation actually was. So I'll just leave it at that and say that he's got the license now. He's at least become accepting of, because it's not just the Jessu license committee being the ones who decide. It's also just Japanese law in general. It's going to take a lot more to change a law about gambling or what they consider to be gambling than it is to build a committee to say who can compete in these games to accept prize money. It's complex. It's very complex.
Yeah, and the thing about is that it's been what, 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years,
2 years of that.
Things change. You learn more about situations that you don't know. And maybe the internet will tell you you're supposed to have one opinion for life. If pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, which is the correct answer, that's your stance for forever. Or if
pineapple on pizza is fine. I can live with pineapple on pizza.
Okay, I can't.
Mostly because I hold a non-discriminatory stance on pizza, where if someone can accept a pizza, I will accept a pizza into my heart, in my mouth. Yeah, that's where I stand.
Yeah, if you love pizza, we're all good.
I'm about free love on the pizza market. Trust me.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where maybe you have a stance and you just learn stuff, and your opinions change, or maybe you say, okay, I'm gonna try it out and go for it.
And a change of opinion is not a position of weakness. It is a position of, I have gained knowledge and have grown as a person, and that's just a generality. I'm not saying that of Momochi. I'm just saying that in general. It's okay to change your opinion. Stop being so fucking mean to people who change their opinions.
Yeah, I for a long time I would say, okay, I would never go to Dodger Stadium for a game. I would never go to Dodger Stadium for a game. And then all of a sudden, 2008, I think. It's 2000. Yeah, it was 2008. I went with a coworker when they made the playoff game. And I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. I'm like, there's no way I'm changing allegiances. Hell no. But okay, I'll be a little bit more accepting of the fact that I'm.
Ball games are fun. It's fun to go to a ball game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. But I still prefer my.
And that's coming from someone who
/Oracle Park /
fair.
Pac-Bell Park. Yeah.
I mean, this is also coming from someone who fucking stands the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, that's a great stadium. That's all I could say about that.
Yeah. Probably the second best stadium in baseball.
I'm biased. I think it's the best. It's the best. You get such a good view. Oh man, just a nice, cool day. You got a nice you get a nice sunset behind the city. You get a whole. You do light up night afterward, and it's fireworks, and it's a beautiful time. Yeah, it's so
definitely, good. Yeah, it's definitely amazing. Yeah, I would. It's tough to beat. I guess now called Oracle Park, but yeah. But
oh God, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I suppose. Fair. But I will say, if you are, if anybody ends up in Pittsburgh, go to PNC Park. Yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but going back to the original thought, it was it's one of those things where you just over time things change. We all change. If and situations maybe dictate something else. And maybe with Momochi, it's just he may have just had that moment where he just got all the data that he had that he didn't have 2 years ago, and said, "Okay, it's time." I am confident in this now. The anti, the punk rock culture, of the community will say, "Well, you sold out. Esports is the devil. How could you do that? You were our savior against this crusade, and now it's gone. You were supposed to be the chosen one." I think that's the word now, by Ewan McGregor. But yeah, it's maybe he just there was a tipping point for him, and it just so happens like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it, and he did it with 2 weeks ago before Capcom Cup. So maybe that's the key in him winning. Now that he said that, I tweeted out the other day that he's 3-0 in clutch rounds this year.
Really?
He's the only player who hasn't lost a clutch round all year, even though he's 3-0. Only 3-0. Everybody else has like 6-7 wins. Punk has, I think, 25 wins, 25 clutch wins. So
I mean,
maybe that's the difference. Yeah.
The other thing you have to consider there is that he was the only one. There wasn't anyone else of any other player of his caliber in Japan who was pressing back on this at all, like writing manifestos like he did. Like no one else was with him on this, and that's not to fault any of the other players. I'm just saying that, like, being in a solo position like that, it puts you on the outs. Like, it is not easy to maintain that kind of relationship with the community in the games that you enjoy or try to enjoy as a career. It's just fucking hard. So I don't fault him for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's the juror that says not guilty, just wanting to make sure that everybody says something before they do a blanket. He's the 12.
He's the 12th angry man.
Angry man. Yeah. He just wants to make sure that everybody gets their say.
I was like, fucking yeah, dude, 12 angry men. He's that one guy in that hot courtroom just, oh, look at this. We could turn the fan on the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man. What a good movie.
Wants to make sure. Yeah. So I don't fault him for changing, maybe there'll be a day where I'll change my stance and have pineapple on pizza. Maybe a long time. But maybe that day will come. So
everybody's palate changes every 7 years, so maybe there's a chance for you yet.
Yeah.
Right. But all right. As with that, I think that's going to be the end of the show. I could bring up one more thing, but I think we might spin off into a segue. I don't know if we necessarily want to go down, but just recently,
it's your show, I got time. And
I kind of want to touch upon. It's just been something that I've been thinking about, because it's something that historically the FGC has dealt with for years and years and years. Is people being scammed within the community, and this isn't just players scamming the community. I'm even talking about like organizers not giving payouts, or people scamming like venture capitalists for whatever money they have, or even fucking organizations scamming their own players. Like, this has happened. There are so many numbers of instances throughout the years. Like, this is well tread upon territory, and it continues to happen within the FGC, and it will continue to happen within the FGC. But the latest one, Tom Brady, with the... Here's the thing, is that we talked about this a little bit before the show when I was just kind of going over topics of things we might want to discuss. And you were right in thinking this, in that I think the lead on this was completely buried, because the information that was out there did not point back to the source of like what happened. Like, what is this?
Yeah, for me it was like, okay, something bad happened. So you try to think about like, okay, all right, let me go back in time to find out like what's point A.
Yeah,
but I couldn't find it. That was the problem.
Yeah, the origins of all of this was really lost in social media somewhere.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, do we really want to find it?
Yeah, honestly, like, do I care enough? The answer is like, nah, probably not.
Yeah.
I really don't care enough.
Yeah.
And I still don't, but I'm only bringing it up just because it did happen, and just so anyone is out there who didn't know. But so Tom Brady out there, of the New England Patriots, what a dirtbag. This is Deflategate all over again.
Yep.
I cannot separate the two in my brain. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I just I don't know anyone specifically who lives in like the Northeast region who's like, man, fucking Tom Brady. Anyway, that's another thing. So what he did was basically asking for donations so that he could attend NEC. Ended up not attending NEC, but pretended as if he was at the event. So far as to go as to present falsified like plane tickets, like fake Ubers, like shit that was like very obviously doctored. So it's just this like shady shit of people accepting money from it, just, and no honesty at the end of it, of trying to cover it up at the end. It's just a shitty thing to do. But at the same time, at least the way that I look at it, it's like, yeah, he's shitty. Just don't ever take anything this person does as like legitimate anymore forever.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking of like so many players in the past and people who just in the community who have done this shit. The funniest thing to me was that I saw like Flash Metroid defending him on twitter.com, and I'm like, yo.
Yeah, that's
I have 7,000 reasons why you might not want to do that, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, like I've been, and I told you about, kind of, there's just always something happening,
Right.
and it's unfortunate that everybody has to deal with these types of situations. I mean, I always think back to we had talked about if this was like really the first time it's happened on this scale.
Yeah, something like if someone's saying, I will go to an event, and then just a no-show.
Yeah. And I was thinking about like it was 2000. It had to have been like 2010 because that's when like my life dived into an abyss for several months. It was just a mess. But I remember the months the weeks before. Yeah, because it went from like, oh yeah, I was attending MLGs for the Madden challenges, and then all of a sudden I'm in the middle of nowhere, California, with $31 left. I'm like, what? How did this happen? Like, how did I let this happen? But I remember the weeks. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's just a story itself.
That's a story for another time, apparently.
Yeah. But one of those last meetings, like esports types meetings I had, was I could probably say it now, is with John Nelson, and like that name just like freaking will send a shock through someone's spine, because John Nelson had made all these promises. You can watch Offcast's vlog about it. It's really great. But the one thing that my takeaway from that was, I had a meeting with John, and he's like, okay, we're gonna talk to these guys about this event or this event, this tournament series. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess, because as my life just like, and I'm just wondering when the switch is going to be turned off at any point, and just like people coming after me. And I go in this meeting in this very secretive room, and there's like 8 executives in this room from, I wouldn't say major stores or corporations, but it's kind of like next level down, kind of like B level, or I would say maybe C level. And they were talking about creating a tournament series of all these games. I think Brawl was going to be, Super Smash Bros. Brawl was going to be the focus. Madden was going to be the focus. I think they picked those games because I was in the room and they knew that was the games that I was covering at the time for Get Your Tournament.
That was the grift.
Yeah. and they were talking about like, yeah, we're gonna get all these players, and we're gonna give away all this money. Like, and I was like, how are you giving away this money? Like, what money? What? Like, where are you getting this? And they're like, yeah, so we're gonna go all the way to. We're gonna have all this tournament series. We're gonna have one in Columbus. We're gonna have one in Pittsburgh, Seattle. Like what? Look, what? How's this? And like, how? Wait. I was like, hold up. What? Like,
Pump the brakes. Where's this coming from?
Where's all this? Like, how is this starting? And I'm like, do you guys understand like what it takes to actually run like a big tournament series like an MLG? Because their goal was to take down MLG, and I'm like, no, you guys aren't. No, stop this. Like I left that. I'm like, what did I just? What did I walk into? What did I waste 2 hours for?
Right.
And it was clear that they were all in it to just scam players. And so my message has always been that, you may see, a John Nelson, but behind the curtain, there's 10 of them waiting for you.
Right. There is so many. And by the way, like I might even include that link because I even think like Top Tier GG did and covered that a couple of months ago.
So yeah.
Just really good stuff. Just talking about like revelations. That whole nonsense. What happened there? Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like that was fucked up on a number of levels, but at the same time, there's so many. And like, here's the thing: that's not like a one-off thing. This has been happening for forever. As long as I know, it's tale as old as time. This is not a unique situation, but all right, that's about as much time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I always, like I said, I always tell people, you may see John Nelson running around trying to do his thing and make false promises, but remember, there's always just someone, 2 steps behind him wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah, don't fall for the fire fest.
Be aware. Yeah, just be aware. That's And I see that in all entrepreneur types walks of life too.
Right.
So it's just unfortunate.
All right.
Oh,
well,
how was your day?
Let me tell you, man. It was fine. Got the haircut, feeling good. Got the hot lather shave. It's good stuff. Someone made a big fart in the office, and it was all anyone could talk about all for the rest of the day, because that's how you know that things are good in your office, is when someone makes a big fart
on the scale. Then
to be fair, it was a big fart. Like, it was, I mean, it's a pretty big office trailer. Like, it's pretty big. It's about like 28 or so cubicles or whatever, and then offices at the other ends of it. It's like pretty big, like double wide trailer, and it's a huge fart, just massive fart right in the center of the office, and just from like maybe like 10 o'clock on for the rest of the day, people were just still laughing about that fart, and I'm like, man, can we just like can we not with this? It's just,
it could have just been the silent killer, and then it would have been like, whew.
And that is true. I did not smell anything. I mean, this is an office situation where you very likely could smell something, but no, it was just a big, loud rip of the asshole, and just ruined everybody's day.
Yeah,
ruined my day. Yeah, at least. But no, that's that thing.
Fiber.
Lots of
fiber.
Yeah, fibrous muffins. Anyway,
Beans.
That's a show. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here with that very loud big fart. What's the saying is that your podcast doesn't end with a whimper. It ends with this is how your podcast ends, not with a whimper, but a very loud fart. I think that's the saying, right? Anyway,
that's how it goes.
Before I let you go, though, I'll re-ask you this question, because it's been a while since you've been on the show. It's a question I ask everybody, but it comes in 2 parts. What is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game, and why?
I would say, I think I answered this last time, was low forward.
Yeah,
That's
still a little forward.
Yeah, it's still a little forward. Because we see it. You play the footsies games, you a little forward, and once you connect, you got opportunities to do a lot of different things. So I would say a little forward.
All right, and then favorite combo, has that changed at all?
I think I can't remember what I put last time, but if I went with
don't
Wombo
think
combo or went with the Ken combo or
the Wombo combo. What is the Wombo combo?
Well, I mean, the famous Wombo combo. Oh gosh, I went to Roundtable the other day and they stopped selling the Wombo combo. That shocked me. I'm like, okay, Sound Spectre, Tang, Zoo, all you guys are now going to be the number one search on Google. I'm like, wow, it's Roundtable stuff sold the Wombo combo.
Damn.
So, the Ken combo too, where you just do neutrals and then you down air, off the platform. But I'd say it's one of those two.
It's really funny, actually. I didn't realize that. I mean, that's the West Coast thing, but that's really funny.
Or maybe it's just the one San Diego location that I went to that with my brother. I'm like,
that has to be. They had to realize, like, you guys, it's doing us no good. We keep doing SEO on Wombo combo, and it's this
can't fend
children's
this
bullshit.
Video off you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. No, all right. So cool. The one thing I'm going to throw one more question at you. Just kind of a little monkey wrench into the gears before we go. Mm-hmm. If there was going to be a musical performance, a live musical performance in between sets of Capcom Cup,
mm-hmm.
Who do you want? Who do you want for it?
Oh, gosh.
Now, this could be answered two ways. It could be like would you personally want there, or who do you think would reasonably fill that bill? Because those are two different answers, I think.
Yeah, because I personally would like to see the band Red make it. They have some just unbelievable music. And they've been touring. Maybe they make a detour down to LA next week. I think they're in Canada right now touring. But Red would be fantastic. That'd be my personal preference. I think the band that would kill it just be I mean, not saying that Red wouldn't kill it, they would. But I think the band that maybe would satisfy a lot of taste would be Pendulum. If they got back to I think they broke up, or they're not I think they just like stopped, making music together. But if they got back together and did Capcom Cup, that would be unreal. I mean, there's been like somebody mentioned this the other so like last year's this previous season Super Bowl is like, oh, who could do the halftime show? I was like, Pendulum. Really? If you think about it,
they're back together.
Yeah, or you bring in Darude or Armin van Buuren or Ferry Corsten or Marcus Schultz and just have them do a set. Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I think Darude would work if it's like in top 8. It's just all Rashids. It's Rashids down the line. They play that Sandstorm, and it's like, okay, it's a little bit on the nose, right? Yeah. Isn't this? Yeah. Fuck. Here's my other question. Darude, when they toured, did they play Sandstorm? Are they still mining that?
I mean, he does still. From my understanding, yeah, he does. There's just like a lot of there's a lot of great music, out there as part of the sets, But yeah, I would say I think he does.
Because in my mind, I'm like, it can't possibly be playing Sandstorm after all of these. I mean, but why else would you fucking go to a Darude show?
Oh, I mean, there's like some of the collabs he's done with like Tritonol or other.
I'm not here to disparage the name of Darude and say and lessen that place in electronic music history. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying that, like, are we over Sandstorm as a people?
Oh, you can never be over Sandstorm.
That's fair enough. I heard it last 2 weekends ago when I was at a wedding. Because of course you're gonna fucking hear Darude Sandstorm at a wedding. Why the fuck wouldn't you? All right, folks, that's a show. That's gonna do it. Glenn, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at most socials. I tweet out stats, sports stuff on Twitter at thegametwok. I'm starting to post a lot more Clash Royale vids and some Underlords vids on Instagram. Same user handle. I don't stream anymore, but if I'm on there, it's on Twitch and YouTube and Periscope. So it's all the same handle, the game 2K. Yeah.
And that's two spelled out.
Yep, TWOK. So for you people who are born after 2004. So just saying.
2K4, man.
yeah, that's
shit. Anyway, folks, Glenn, it has been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm looking forward to
it's been great talking
here in the book. Probably, I mean, there's no date obviously set for it, but sometime in 2020, I assume
early
it will come.
Yeah,
early 2020. You're gonna go into hibernation in the wintertime. And
yep, I'm like right after Capcom comes done, I'm on a Twitter break, and you will only hear from me when I post vids on Instagram. Other than that, I'm writing the book, and I'll see you all back sometime. Could be 2 months, it could be 3 months, but yeah, I'll be taking a social media diet, so to speak. So
I'm looking forward to it then. And I wish you all the best and luck in completing that project. All right, folks, that's the show, though. We'll be back next Thursday. You can find me at Super Joe Monday or at RedditSF on Twitter.com, or head on over to R Street Fighter and just post whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. I'll see it. We'll know. And that's going to do it for the episode. We're going to be back running tournaments on Mondays because we've had like some weird... It's been like off days with our tournaments. There was like an update that is like very rare on a Monday. It's usually on Tuesdays, but we're back. Don't forget about the Friday tournaments on the West Coast. But that'll do it for this episode of RSF Radio. But until next time, folks, take care.